smooth segue to Sean Casey, the MLB Network analyst, three-time NHL or NL All-Star. He's known as the mayor, and nobody ever booed Sean Casey when he played. Did they?
No, when I got thrown off from left, I got booed. Whole Detroit was booming. 60,000 were like, all right, get out of here. Boo. So one time I really got booed bad.
When you got thrown out from left field at first base, you got booed.
I got booed so bad. I literally was like running back. I was running back to the dugout, like, showering of boos. I'm like, oh man, this is unbelievable. I never been hit with so many boos in my life.
Did you get booed? Like, does booing help or hurt?
Well, you know what? In 1999, I was having a really good year. We were coming down the stretch. We were going to the Astrodome to play the Astros. And I remember getting introduced and the place booed me. And I remember Barry Larkin saying to me, hey man, you finally made it. If they're booing you, that means they know who you are. And I was like, all right, man, this is awesome.
But what about the home fans?
The home fans. You know what? I think the one thing with the home fans at the end of the day, like people come to see you play and they want to see you do well. So if they boo you because they're not happy that maybe this is the only game they're going to that year and you're not doing well, I understand. I can understand. I've had that happen before. Like I've been on a bad streak with Cincinnati a couple of times and was very popular there, but I got booed a few times and I understood it when I freaking grounded into another double play.
Okay, but what Javi Baez did and some of his teammates, give me the logic behind that and doing that to New York fans.
Wow, I don't know if there's a good logic as far as doing it to New York fans. I think it was probably not the smartest of moves just because New York's New York. And like, for me, I played in Boston, in 2008. So like, Boston, New York, Philly, listen, they're great fans. They're passionate fans. They care. And New York, and I was talking to Cliff Floyd about this the other day. He's like, New York fans especially Mets fans, are some of the most knowledgeable fans out there. So, I don't know. I know I saw Javi's, reaction, but as players, you have to understand too, you get paid a lot of money to go out there and perform. And when you don't, you're going to get booed. That's just the nature of the beast.
But when you respond with thumbs down, like it's one thing to tick. Yeah.
You can't do it. You just can't do it. I don't know, man. Like you got to be able to look at yourself in the mirror too, like, and say, you know what, I'm not really playing that well in these last few games. And we are 10 games under 500 or whatever it was in our last 40. And, we're not giving the fans what they want. We are underachieving. Like, so you can't boo back to the fans when you're not getting it done. It'd be different if it was different circumstances, but the bottom line is the Mets are underachieving right now and the fans are booing. I don't think it's okay to boo back to the fans because it just sends a bad message.
Well, it's, what came first, the chicken or the egg? Your bad play came before the booing started. If you play well, then they're not going to be booing you. I just never understood. And I remember Tino Martinez told me that he went from the Yankees to the Cardinals. And he said, I would get booed at Yankee Stadium if I wasn't playing well. I went to St. Louis and they were like, hey, you'll get him next time. And Tino said, I wanted them to yell at me. I wanted them to boo me. Like I needed that. I expected that. Not like, hey, that's okay. You're 0 for 10. We'll get him next time, Tino. Come on. Don't worry about it.
You're going to be okay. Well, St. Louis is the one place. I remember you make a diving play on the visiting team. You come up and they're cheering for you. You're like, man, where are we here? Like, but St. Louis, they cheer for everybody. And I can see, like, you're right, Tino Martinez. Hey, you're all right, man. You're 0 for your last 27. You'll be better tomorrow. In New York, they're like, get out of town. You suck. You're out of here.
Could you have played in New York?
Yeah, I think I could have definitely played in New York. Yeah, I could have definitely played in New York, especially later in my career. when you start to understand what it takes to play in places like that, My last year, Danny, was in Boston. And I ended up hitting well. So I always say, they always say, what was your experience like in Boston? I said, it was unbelievable. I ended up hitting over 300 and I never got booed. So it was a great thing, great experience.
What kind of ball player would you be? Because you were you hit for average, not an average hitter. You hit for average. Mm-hmm. Is there a place in baseball for you today?
Oh man, I think a hitter like myself would be more appreciated in today's game just because, I didn't strike out 100 times. Like I was a 370 on base. I was still gonna I was still going to hit you doubles. I was going to hit you some home runs. I was going to drive in runs. So like a guy like me, I think they need more guys like me that were good hitters in the game today, because the three true outcomes and just the strikeouts, how it's just okay to strike out 200 times nowadays. Yeah, I don't think that's the greatest product. And I also think, Danny, if you go and look at the teams that have won it in the last few years, these teams do have good hitters up and down their lineups. There are tough outs in those lineups. So yeah, I think I would do well in today's game.
He's Sean Casey, works for the Major League Baseball Network, 3-time National League All-Star. Do you think back in the day, and you were probably in the throes of the steroid era in the late 90s, like, do you have to make a conscious decision to say, I'm not going to use steroids?
I think so. Yeah. You know, what's funny, man. I mean this sincerely. Like, I never did steroids and I didn't even know all the guys were doing it. The lifting was huge then. Guys were huge. And I really think the guys that were doing it knew they were like a little club. So did I expect some guys, like a couple guys that would come to spring training, like with 30 pounds of muscle, and I'm in the off season with a personal trainer, like just getting after it 4 or 5 days a week, doing everything I can. I put on 3 pounds of muscle and I come into spring training like, what the hell? Isn't this normal? You put on 3 pounds of muscle? And I'm like, bro, how'd you put on 35 pounds of muscle in 4 months? He's like, oh man, I was training hard and had a personal trainer. I was like, so did I. And I was doing everything. I was like, you put on 32 more pounds of muscle than I did. You got to be kidding me. So, playing during that time, I think it was a conscious choice not to do it. But looking back, I think for a lot of those years, I didn't realize how many guys were doing it.
Because there's the pressure. It's not when you get to the majors, but in the minor leagues. And, 2 guys I know who were former minor leaguers said, if you don't want to do it, but then you see that somebody else is doing it, and they're going to get a better chance of getting called up. So it's that peer pressure, and the money is so different when you get called up that you really have to have that, the good angel on your shoulder and the devil on your other shoulder. And you're like, who am I listening to here?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think the pressure, you're right. The pressure, the money nowadays, when you start to feel that, okay, the playing field's not fair. You know what I mean? Their guys are making it, that are doing steroids. They're the ones making all the money. And here I am in the minors. I'm not going to make it. And what am I going to do? Get a pat on the back and say I didn't do it? So I think there was a real dilemma there for guys, and a lot of guys that did do it and didn't do it, and understandably so.
Handicap the National League West. You like the Giants or the Dodgers here down the stretch?
Oh man, I tell you what, I just think that the Giants have been so awesome. What a story, and I think they're a really, really good team. Man, I just feel like the Dodgers are coming. They've been making that run. They're a half game back now, pushing hard. Adding Scherzer and Turner and those guys, at the deadline, I think has been huge. I think the Dodgers overtake the Giants in September.
What do you think about the usage of Shohei Ohtani doing double duty here?
Oh, I love it. I think we're seeing who Shohei really is, because when Madden was like, what do you want to do? I think at spring training, he's like, what do you want to do? He's like, listen, I want to hit and I want to pitch. I don't want to go back to taking 2 days off and, with kid gloves. I think they took the kid gloves off and they say, the reason you're here is because you're a once in a generational player. No, you're a once in a lifetime player. We've never seen a guy like you. Like, go do it. And so I think the fact that he's doing it, he's built to do what he's doing. And I think that's why it's been such an unbelievable thing to see Shohei, doing what he's doing on both sides of the ball.
Well, I like the story, but I wonder about long-term. Can he continue to do it? Does it take away from – I can't imagine – and I saw this at Yankee Stadium a couple of months ago, where he's got to face the Yankees, and he's got to lead off. Pitchers spend 5 days preparing for a start, and he's playing every single day. And just that mental fatigue that you have, it's such a long season. And that's what I wonder, is it counterproductive? Will it be counterproductive at some point?
No, but I think he's the biggest thing with a big leaguer. If you talk to anybody, it's your routine. Hey, man, what's your routine when you come to the big leagues? Hey, get a good routine. Well, Shohei, since he's obviously been a teenager in Japan, has got this routine where he could start every fifth day, but also hit every day. I think his routine's just different than what we know in the States. That's why we've never seen anything like it. So I think he's going to be able to do it. I really do. I think he's got his body conditioned. And Danny, if he doesn't, then he picks one of them and he'd be still one of the best players in baseball on one side of the ball. But to watch him do this as long as we can, man, as fans, we got to keep really enjoying it and saying we've never seen anything like this.
How many Hall of Famers did you take deep?
I think I took a few deep. I don't know. Do you have the numbers? I don't know. Maybe like, how about 15?
Well,
10?
Give me the one though that you took deep, and you're like that pitcher might be a little.
I took. Let me see. Well, one pops into my head. I took Glavine deep a few times. I hit really well against Maddox. Smoltz was pretty nasty. Let me see. Randy Johnson, I never took deep, but I hit him pretty well. Let me see. What other big Roy Halladay? Man, maybe I didn't go deep and that's enough. I know I hit a lot of them well, but maybe not. I know I got Glavine a few times. Why am I drawing blanks on Hall of Famers that I played against? But so maybe 2.
You went from 15 to 10 to 2.
I was like, man, I'm starting to rattle the Hall of Famers I played against. Maybe it's not so many.
Okay.
I know one. There's got to be one more out there somewhere.
Okay. You walk up to the plate for the first time against Randy Johnson.
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
I seriously was like, God, is this scary? Like, I seriously, well, I walk out there my first time facing, I'll never forget. I was in Cincinnati. He's with Arizona. I walk out. He's just got the long mullet, 6'11", it is so scary. And I get up there and I remember thinking to myself, oh my God, that's Randy Johnson. I got his baseball card. This is unbelievable. Next thing you know, it was like, wham, 100 outside corner. I'm like, Jesus, that's unbelievable. Wham, 100 outside corner, and then 93-mile-an-hour slider. And I'm like, wow, I'm in for a dogfight here. So I've never seen anything like this in my entire life, right? So I'm like, Danny, I start battling because, I didn't strike out a lot. So I get to 2-2. I'm like, I'm not punching out. 2-2, foul. So on the 7th pitch, Randy Johnson walks up. He gets like 10 feet from the freaking from the plate. He snatches the ball and looks at me like, ah. I'm like, oh my God. I was like, I just want to get the hell out of here. I was like, so the next pitch I grounded out and I was running to first. I was like, that's the greatest ground out of my life. I just wanted to be done with this at bat.
It's always great to talk to you, man. Hope you're well.
All right, Danny. Great seeing you, man. Thanks for having me on.
That's Sean Casey. Now you know why he was called the mayor. the fact that Randy Johnson's like 10 feet away going, Arr! Major League Baseball Network analyst, 3-time National League All-Star. You can watch Sean across MLB Network's programming, plus check out his new podcast, The Mayor's Office.